obviously cocaine isn't a performance-enhancing drug. So
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. I mean, it heightens. I don't think that's the official ruling. I know the people say it's a recreational drug, but also cocaine can be used, and it makes your senses, some of your senses, more acutely.
It's news to me, like it's news to you. I'm surprised. I don't like hearing this connected to our sport. Something has to be done.
Needed a performance like that, needed to be conditioned like that to win that fight, because otherwise, what we're seeing from Chisora is, if you aren't an elite heavyweight, you will get beat by Chisora. Unfortunately, the elite guys are beaten. Devastating for Jack Cullen.
This is the point. How can he give a sample and then a B sample, and they both come back positive for a banned substance? It doesn't make any sense.
Boxing insiders are ripping into Filip Hrgovic after reports that he failed a drug test ahead of his fight with Moses Itauma. Frank Warren's reaction says everything. Filip Hrgovic, a fighter he once trusted, is now facing a UK hearing with his reputation hanging in the balance. No excuse or B-sample result can erase the controversy surrounding this situation. The boxing world is demanding answers, and Hrgovic could face lasting damage to his name if the allegations are confirmed.
Surprised, to be honest. It shocked me more than if you'd have said somebody's tested positive on the show. I wouldn't even have considered him, but he has. So it's got to be dealt with. So what will happen? There'll be a hearing. UCAD will have a hearing. He'll have to present his case, put his B sample in, and it'll take its course. And they'll determine, whether that, the B sample would determine whether they match up.
Johnny Nelson isn't staying quiet. Even he was caught off guard by the news, and his call for accountability is completely understandable. A positive test involving Filip Hrgovic could seriously damage boxing's credibility if the authorities fail to respond properly. The governing bodies have to address this head-on. The integrity of the sport is at stake.
Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. We're going to lose respect when it comes to contact sport. So something has to be done by the governing bodies.
Eddie Hearn has highlighted one of the biggest problems in this entire situation: jurisdiction loopholes. Filip Hrgovic could potentially avoid a suspension because of a technical issue surrounding which authority controls the case. And that's what makes this so disturbing. If a fighter can fail a drug test and escape punishment because of paperwork, the entire anti-doping system starts to look meaningless.
Explained how he's got failed drug tests, and you were right in the observations that you made about jurisdiction. It wasn't about jurisdiction. I'm finished yet.
If you go for a procedure where you will receive a ban, right, or you could be fined, or you, in respect, and found guilty, and all of a sudden you don't get found guilty, you don't receive a ban, you are fully clear.
The timing makes this even more serious. A failed test on fight morning creates chaos at the worst possible moment. Johnny Nelson has described the situation as dangerous, and it's easy to understand why. The commission is suddenly forced to deal with a major issue while the opponent's safety and the fairness of the contest are still hanging in the balance. This goes far beyond bad publicity.
To make the way how he's done it, on the morning of a fight, it's just wrong. It's dangerous, and the board are now in a situation where they think shit.
John Fury is sticking to one important principle: innocent until proven guilty. And that's exactly how due process should work. But if Filip Hrgovic is going to clear his name, his explanation needs to stand up to serious scrutiny when the B-sample results arrive. Fans aren't going to accept vague excuses. One failed test raises questions, while multiple findings would create an entirely different level of controversy.
If it comes out the B sample has been used, and ban him. There's no more to be said, is there? Well, big job.
Eddie Hearn says Filip Hrgovic is still cleared to fight, but the timeline has raised plenty of eyebrows. Results are still being processed in the UK while the fight moves forward under British boxing regulations. To many fans, that creates the impression that the process is moving faster than the answers. People want clarity before fight night, not after everything is over.
Clear to fight on Saturday, but we need to talk with them and make him comfortable. Yes, we could use other commissions. It's not something we're looking to do. We want to move forward with the British Boxing Board of Control.
Where are we with the whole B sample? When will we get some clarity on that?
Not before the fight. But again, with the British Boxing Board of Control, that's actually irrelevant in terms of their testing agencies.
We've just been waiting for all the final test results to come back.
Derek Cazorla has taken an uncompromising position. Anyone caught cheating should face a 10-year ban. No special treatment and no exceptions. His message reflects the frustration many boxing fans feel about the current anti-doping system. If the consequences aren't severe enough, fighters may continue taking the risk. Hrgovic's case has only intensified that debate.
You know, everybody who gets caught taking drugs should get a fucking 10-year ban, man. Fuck everybody. I don't understand why we have to fucking footsie around this shit.
Even Adam Smith, usually one of the more measured voices in boxing, appears genuinely unsettled by the situation. His uncertainty says a lot. When people who normally avoid jumping to conclusions are suddenly hesitant to defend a fighter, it creates an uncomfortable atmosphere. Right now, the boxing community is waiting to see where the evidence ultimately leads.
Surprise, and I'll wait and see what happens. I mean, I don't know the findings. We don't know. I haven't seen statements really. I don't know. It's come out in the social.
Dave Coldwell has raised the possibility of contamination involving an extremely small amount of a substance. But that explanation still needs evidence. A positive test doesn't simply disappear because contamination is suggested afterward. Technical arguments can be made, but they have to be supported by science. Until that happens, the contamination defense will naturally look like an attempt to control the damage.
Is there a perfect reason why it's a tiny molecule that kind of traces from that? That's like one test positive, and then kind of cheated. I don't know. We only know the facts.
Liam Goff has pointed out how different testing methods can produce different information, whether we're talking about hair, urine, or saliva samples. That makes the details of the testing incredibly important. But it also raises another question: why does Filip Hrgovic's explanation appear to keep changing? If the amount detected was genuinely tiny, the scientific evidence should be able to explain exactly what happened.
I'm just chucking it out there. If depending on the amount, that will depend on how long it remains in your system. So from what I can gather, if you've taken very limited amounts, very little amounts, it could stay in your system depending on the nature of the test. If it was a saliva test, if it was a urine test, if it was a hair test, it's going to stay in your system a lot longer.
Paul Smith's comments about Filip Hrgovic's toughness take on a completely different meaning in light of these allegations. He's praised the fighter's ability to keep going when the pressure becomes unbearable. But now comes the uncomfortable question: were any of those performances influenced by banned substances? That's what makes this controversy so damaging. It's not about erasing a fighter's entire career. It's about demanding honest answers and allowing the evidence to determine what really happened.
The result might alter the way he thinks as well when things get hard. You know what? I'm not saying he's a quitter. It's never been that. It's just what I've seen in fights when it gets really hard and he's got up and walk back to his corner when he probably could have got up on that 8 and go again. But listen, he is what he is.
Eddie Hearn's anger appears completely raw. According to Hearn, Filip Hrgovic sent messages claiming that the situation was sabotage and that the system was working against him. But when allegations like this emerge, emotional reactions can create even more questions. Hearn had promoted and supported Hrgovic, so receiving a denial rather than a clear explanation clearly frustrated him. Whatever the truth is, the controversy has already taken a serious toll on Hrgovic's credibility.
But do you know what is the absolute liberty about all of this? Is the way that he, after he failed that test on Monday, texts me, texts you, to say, I swear I've not taken anything. This is sabotage. This is just a system against me. Fuck off. It's an absolute, and you know what, it makes me sick.
Spencer Oliver puts the allegation into brutally simple terms. The substance reportedly found in Filip Hrgovic's system was cocaine, a recreational drug, ahead of a career-defining fight with Moses Itauma. That's very different from a mysterious supplement or an unexplained trace. With so much at stake, the controversy now centers not only on the test itself, but also on the decisions Hrgovic allegedly made outside the ring.
Blown away by what it is, recreational drugs, cocaine. You just go, how has that got in your system? He's got some explaining to do for one, and you think with what you had on the line, and with what you was, what was coming up for you, and the opponent you had in front of you, you just go like,
Spencer Oliver calls the entire situation absurd. and that's understandable given the circumstances. This story has grown beyond a simple doping controversy. It has become a question of judgment, discipline, and whether Filip Hrgovic understood the enormous risk he was taking before facing Moses Itauma.
People think, oh, you won't know what stays for 2 weeks. I don't know, why would you take it knowing there's a possibility that it's going to be in your system? And why would you take it for our sport anyway?
Johnny Nelson has asked the question that many fans are thinking: why take the risk when a substance like this can remain detectable for weeks? From his perspective, the timing makes the situation even harder to understand. Hrgovic was preparing to face Moses Itauma, yet the alleged decision came dangerously close to the biggest fight of his career. Whether it was recklessness or something else, the timing has only intensified the scrutiny.
The A samples, and obviously they're not been contaminated. And if that is the case, then he's obviously got to explain how twice, on 2 occasions, that he's had PED.
Frank Warren has now raised an even bigger concern, claiming there were 2 failed tests rather than just 1. And that makes the demand for an explanation much more serious. Warren once stood firmly behind Hrgovic, but now he's publicly questioning what happened. Even Hrgovic's reported comments about refusing to fight under British Boxing Board control again have added another layer to the controversy. Instead of ending the questions, the situation appears to be creating even more of them.
Is there a perfect reason why it's a tiny molecule that tiny traces? That's why one tested positive, and then cheated. I don't know, because we only know the facts of
Dave Coldwell has repeated the contamination argument, but saying the same explanation again doesn't automatically make it more convincing. Hrgovic's camp continues to point toward contamination, yet that claim still has to be proven. Boxing has seen similar situations before: deny the allegation, challenge the test, raise contamination concerns, and hope the controversy fades. But this time, the stakes are enormous. Hrgovic reportedly failed a drug test before one of the biggest fights of his career against Moses Itauma, and fans want evidence rather than recycled explanations. Tony Bellew summed up the chaos with one brutal assessment: boxing has turned into a circus. And Filip Hrgovic currently finds himself at the center of it. The opportunity was supposed to be straightforward: step into the ring with Moses Itauma and prove himself against one of the division's most dangerous rising heavyweights. Instead, the controversy has shifted attention away from the fight and toward questions about whether the contest was ever going to be completely fair.
Frightening for the sport. It's not that it's bad, it's frightening. But listen, this isn't boxing as a sport, this is the circus.
Ultimately, this entire saga has left boxing fans with more questions than answers. Filip Hrgovic's reputation remains uncertain until the B-sample process and the wider investigation are resolved. Was this reckless behavior? A genuine mistake? Or something far more serious? The evidence will have to determine that. But one thing is already clear: the next chapter of this story could have a bigger impact on Hrgovic's career than any victory or defeat inside the ring.